Hey everybody, it is Dr. Fisher. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Tried to set it up, so it would be, I might be a little bit shaky, but I tried to make it so the audio would work. So today I am in the process of traveling to Idaho. I'm not going to give you all the details, but we're heading out here for a funeral. And my wife and I have been talking about a principle that's near and dear to my heart, something that I see every day. My focus in my practice is anxiety, stress, and unresolved trauma. And this morning and or today has been not only a difficult situation in the sense of, dealing with the existential crisis of a family member's death, and driving, 12 and a half, 13 hours originally. But what happened this morning is a fun little story. I'm not going to share all the details for you, but my little old, good-looking little car that has about 200,000 miles on it decided that as we were an hour outside of driving into Idaho, that it would start acting up, and we turned around, barely made it back to home, and ended up having transmission failure, and we had to drive another vehicle. Thank goodness we have another one. And in that process, it's been a very stressful day. Stressful in the sense of not knowing sure whether or not we were going to make it back home, not knowing sure what the mechanic was going to say. Of course, about 2 o'clock this afternoon on our trip, we did get a call from the mechanic, transmission shot. The car is not worth anything anymore, so no value in the car. The idea of having to buy a new car. All to say, a little long-winded in this story because I'm in it. I guess I'm trying to process it. The idea is to understand the difference between a stress response and the idea of surviving, being in survival, it's not a bad thing, versus thriving and being in a place where you can create. These are the two opposite ends of the spectrum. And maybe it would have been a good idea if I'd shared that concept and idea first, but one of the things I really want you to understand is when we're in a stress response, when we're in a place of safety, and acutely for a short period of time, your body goes into a place where it uses all of its resources to be able to support you. There's nothing wrong with that. And hey guys, and while you're in that stress response, using all of your resources acutely is fine. But you need to be able to pull out of that stress response, because what ends up happening is you continue in this stress response. So this is what my wife and I have been talking about all day and trying to work through the process so I can be in a place of creativity. Because I can tell you I've been nauseous a couple of times today because of how intense and how stressful all the situations that are happening right now. And I know for myself, that's going to burn all my resources out, and that's going to make it so that it's going to be harder for this trip to continue. I know that many of you have been in situations where this same situation has affected you, where a similar situation has affected you. And so it's really important to have the awareness and the skills to be able to recognize when you're in the stress response, right? So a couple of different triggers or a couple of different pieces that I recognize within myself when I'm in a stress response include massive sweating in my armpits right away, me holding my stress right here in my abdomen. I get nauseated, like I got a ginger chew in my mouth right now because this is such an easy process for me to go through. I can't eat anything right now. But the idea is to be aware first. I teach this to all my patients. The art of working through a difficult situation is what we call it. There's 3 components to this. Awareness first. I am aware of all the different stress responses that I'm in. The next component is to... I'm in a stress response, so it's hard for me to come up with the next one. But the next one is in relation to being able to resolve and or work through whatever that stress response is. And then the third one is to have a new target. So, for example, I recognized that this is really stressing me out, hardcore. The nausea was a dead giveaway, by the way. And now we're talking about it. We're working through it. I'm trying to sit in it, the discomfort of it. And through that process, I'm gonna put myself back into a place where I can be creative. We're working through solutions. I'm gonna be able to make this process be just fine, and I'm gonna learn from it as much as I can and move forward in success. So you can do this too. Remember, the art, and now it came to me because I just worked through it, the art of regulation or the art of moving through stress. Awareness first, regulation second, and then a new target. So that is principles that you can take to the bank every single day of the week. So remember, as you go through stressors in your life, and life is about stress, a really important skill is for you to be aware of whatever's stressing you out, different things that are stressing you out, how to work through it, and how to be successful. We all, as human beings, can be successful no matter what comes our way. And with the pandemic and with everything that's changing in the world, you can be successful. You can find that inner peace, and you can put yourself into a place where you can be successful and you can be creative in whatever's happening. This is the message that I want to send to you today. This is what I'm trying to work through myself. I'm just reinforcing this process with myself as I'm doing it in real time. This is Dr. Fisher, signing out.